After the British and Hungarian Grand Prix, Belgium is the final race before the summer break, and it's a fantastic circuit to round out the first half of the year, and thanks to its high speed, old school nature, it's one of the best tracks to drive in F1 24. Now Spa is certainly up there with tracks like Monza that require a car with a great top speed. You'll be pushing over 200 miles an hour at the end of the Kemmel Straight, and almost the entire final sector is taken at full throttle. With this in mind, running a low downforce car setup is crucial. I've opted for a setup of 18 for the front wing and just 4 at the rear. The reworked Spa track is incredibly fluid to drive, and while it does test your mechanical grip through fast corners, rear downforce is never truly an issue. You could, in fact, lower the rear downforce even closer to 0 if you do feel the car isn't too hard to control. The front wing of 18 is much more important than the rear, as you don't want to suffer from understeer, as this will harm your mid-corner speed a lot. There aren't too many slow corners where traction is an issue around Spa, other than the final chicane and the first corner. This lets us run a higher on-throttle diff setup of 70%, without too much worry of the car feeling loose. I'd suggest lowering this manually via your MFD on the approach to the final chicane, and increasing it back up after turn 1. This can make it slightly easier to accelerate without spinning your rear wheels through those slower corners. I've then gone and set the off-throttle diff to 35% and the engine braking to 70%. This approach gives us maximum ERS recovery each lap and great deceleration. The combination provides very good deceleration without the rear of the car feeling unstable under heavy braking. Spa is a track that is all about minimising drag and maximising mechanical grip, and that leads to only one outcome, and that's to run the camber all the way to the left combined with minimal toe. Increasing the rear toe can provide a bit more stability, but as I mentioned, rear stability and rear downforce isn't really the issue around Spa, so I'd suggest keeping it all the way left. The fairly aggressive trend does continue to the suspension setup, setting this to 40 at the front and 5 at the rear, and pairing this with an ARB setup of 20 and 16 means your car will be pretty stiff. This is great for carrying higher speed through corners such as Les Combes and Pouhon. I have lowered the rear ARB for better stability, which just helps eliminate any snap oversteer. With this stiff suspension, we can also run a low ride height of 24 and 56, and this could actually even be lower. However, I have included a bit of a buffer, as you can bottom out if you get up and over some curbs, such as the outside curb on the final part of Les Combes. Now, there are some curbs to avoid around Spa, mainly the inside curbs of turns 14 and 16, as these can start to rotate your car. With the brake setup, 100% pressure is a must to slow your car from high speed into that chicane, and then go with a brake bias of 55%. We are running the off-throttle diff relatively low and the engine braking pretty high, which means we have to move the brake bias slightly further forward. Even at 55%, there is still almost zero chance of locking a wheel. And I've rounded out this F1 24 Belgium car setup with tyre pressures set to their maximum. The rears will heat up quicker than the fronts, and if you struggle for warm-up on the harder tyre, you can lower the front pressures by 1 or even 2 psi. This track has seen a pretty big change in F1 24, with parts of the circuit becoming narrower and wider, and a lot of the curbs being reduced in size. With this car setup, you can be incredibly smooth through your driving style, leading to really good consistency and hopefully a good race result. As always, I'd love to hear your feedback, so pop what you think of this setup in the comments below, and consider hitting that like button or subscribing, as it will help this channel grow and this video be seen by more sim racers. But for now guys, I will see you on track.